We go to school, what's your major, and where do you get offers for this summer?
I go to USC, I study computer science. I received offers from Adobe, 2 Sigma, PayPal, Meta, Amazon, and JP Morgan Chase.
God damn! And what is your hourly rate at 2 Sigma?
I'm making about $120 an hour. I'm making $4,200 a week.
So if you want to break into Quant, what is the one thing you have to stop doing right now?
Stop applying to the big boys. Kenny Griffith does not want you. At the end of the day, again, quant firms have target schools that they're recruiting from, and if you don't go to one of those schools, it's very unrealistic to expect that you're gonna land that quant job at Jane Street, Citadel, 2 Sigma. There's a lot of smaller quant firms out there that are looking for interns that just don't get applications because everyone's only trying to get the big ones with the big bucks, right?
And do you think the market is really as cooked as people say, or no?
Absolutely not. Your resume is just chalk. A big mistake that a lot of students do is they'll apply to 400 companies with the same general resume, and when they don't hear anything back, they're like, oh, the job market's cooked. But if you actually just take the time to read the application and the job posting and tailor your resume specifically to that, you will have a lot better results. Personally, I only applied to about 35 companies during this cycle, and I heard back from about 15 of them.
What is your biggest leak code, cheat code?
The biggest thing is to just stop loafing. I think the biggest cheat code is to actually understand the data structure / problem that you're trying to attempt. And once you do that problem, actually break down that problem and understand what it's asking you, because a lot of people just memorize answers and regurgitate it. And at the end of the day, they're gonna know that you're pulling stuff out of your ass.
So what is the biggest mistake you see with students though when leak coding?
So one of the biggest things that students should be doing while doing leak code problems is they should also be explaining their thoughts out loud as if they're speaking to an interviewer. Do it to a teddy bear, do it to a mirror, do it to whatever, but just as you're going through a problem, explain your thoughts, explain your reasoning, and just communicate that clearly, because that's what an interviewer is looking for.
What is the worst piece of advice that you received in your career?
You already have a full-time offer. You don't need to keep applying to companies. I think the biggest thing that CS students can do to prepare for getting jobs is to continue interviewing no matter what. Do as many interviews as you can. That's the best practice you can get, and increase your confidence overall.
Speaking of interviews, what is your #1 tip to ace the technical interview?
Is to treat the technical interview like any other standardized testing at this point. Like in the SAT, you have a bunch of questions, and at the end of the day, it's all repeating itself in different forms. So leak code is the same way. All you have to do is understand that there are different concepts that they're gonna question. There's gonna be hash maps, graphs, algorithms. The point isn't to have a solution for each question, but to be able to understand the concept and intuitively derive that solution.
And what is your biggest recruitment hot take?
The school you go to doesn't matter. I don't know where this cope came from that you could go to community college and you'll be in the same bracket as someone who goes to Stanford or Georgia Tech. At the end of the day, you don't need to go to a top school to get a top job, but it makes it significantly easier.